Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tigercraft. Tigercraft episode 8. So, in the last episode, we expanded Route A toward the village of Vinewood, and we also built this big bridge that you see behind me. And today, we're just going to do some route planning and maybe some exploring and also a little building. So let's get started. So in the last episode of Tigercraft, this is where we ended. We finished up this bridge over the river here and built this piece of embankment and also a little bit of the roadbed. And also, while you were gone, I decided to do a little bit of route planning and tree removal. And I marked out where the road could potentially go. I'm still trying to figure out where it'll go. We're obviously still trying to get to the village of Vinewood, but the terrain has become, well, kind of yucky and confusing and all over the place. Vinewood, the village of Vinewood, is right over there, but we have all this weird stuff here, and I'm thinking maybe we should build a very, very big bridge project, or maybe build through the mountain pass here. Maybe build a bridge right here instead, over to here. So I am not entirely sure yet. I also want to find another village. I want to do that. I also want to write in our journal that we've been journaling in since we started this world. And also, I think it might be time to build maybe another house. Because the starter base is quite far away now. We're almost 1,000 blocks away from it. And let's see here. I'll just start by putting just a chest right there for now. So I like how this bridge turned out. It really, really looks awesome. So let's head on back here. And also, if you have noticed, I turned up the render distance a little bit so that you can see a little farther out. And maybe I'll just leave this be for the time being. I'll leave this section of road alone for the time being. And maybe I'll have Route A go across this and then go around here, then onto this little peninsula or jetty or whatever you want to call it, and then build a bridge right here, and then have it anchor right here on top of this hill. It definitely would be time consuming, but I think it would look good. It is my world. I can do whatever I want with it. Let's see if we can find another village. Because we've been building toward Vinewood for quite a while, but I really want to find another village. Just for the sake of completing something on the task list that we started way back in episode 1. So let's head on back to the starter base. And I blocked off this section of the road right here because I don't know where it's going to go until we find that second village. As you can see by the road sign, we haven't even put in the second village name. yet. But let's go on back here to... Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. It's not at the journal and stuff is not... It's not back at the starter base. It's underneath this bridge here on the private road that we built a while back. So let's see here. Let's take a look. See if our journal is up to date. Okay, so this would be day 10. And like I said back a couple episodes back, I go by in real life days because I can't play every day. So I go by in real life days when I'm building. I'll just call this Route A expansion. I'm not even sure what day it is because I haven't played in quite a while. I've been busy at work, so... There we go. Now we will... Let's see if we can find another village. And also do some route planning for Route A as well. So I was thinking it would... From this end, it would do a little bit of an S-curve, then I would build another culvert, have this waterfall go underneath into the river, and then I would just build through this little area here. I'm not sure yet. There's nothing but forest over here. It's just nothing but forest and crazy hills, and then you got these mountains and everything. I feel like it would be very, very challenging to build in this area. Looks like there's a little pass right here, like a little mountain pass wedged right in between these mountains. Looks relatively flat through this pass. That way I wouldn't have to destroy the mountains if I were to build a road through there. Got a couple of hills here. Hey, look at that. There's a pillager outpost. Way up on this hill. Wow. Let's keep our distance away from that. Some nice place. Hey, look at that. There's a village. I see a village. Is it abandoned? Let's take a look. Nope, it is alive and well. There's a couple villagers. Whoa, and a big cliff. Okay, I think we've found village 2 out of 5. Let's... Pardon me. Let's get these villagers protected. Okay, after all of that, the village is now protected. The villagers won't be wandering off into the wilderness, especially with that outpost being so close by. In fact, you can kind of see it. Yep, there it is right there off in the distance. That's not very far away from here, so I'm glad I put up that barrier for the time being. So now that that's all done and that the villagers are protected, it's time to start figuring out how to connect this. Okay, now that we have this village all bordered up with construction barrier, that way the villagers don't fall into this, I think we need to give this village a name. Since this is the world of New Anthelberg, I think this would be a cool name for it. The Village of Paw Print. There we go. So now we have a village. Or our second village. That's what I meant to say. Our second village. So village 2 out of 5. Now we need to figure out a way to connect Route A. And I really don't want to destroy these mountains, and also these mountain passes look awfully narrow. And then there's that big hole and everything like that. So my route plan will be to go around these mountains, go around these big ones. I've already marked out a path, a potential path with magenta blocks or cones, whatever. I marked out a potential path after I finished the border here of construction barrier. I've finished this possible path around the mountain range over here, because look at that. That's going to be one heck of a view. Almost looks kind of like the oasis from The Lion King. But anyway, so we have this path. And then we have that big cut, but there's a little land bridge right there. And then, of course, there's land over here. So if we need to, we can just build over that. And then we're going to tear through the jungle with a nice big straightaway. And then we're going to have to go through these hills, through this birch forest and curve. And I've even started clearing some trees while I was doing the magenta blocks. And I thought that going in the front of these mountains just wouldn't look good because there's a beautiful body of water over there that would give you a very good view of the mountains, and I didn't want to spoil that. And then there's this valley here. Could cut through here, but I don't feel like spoiling that either. So, and also, there's our base right there. So I don't really want to build over there. I kind of want to hide the road a little bit and preserve these mountains and not cut down so many trees and get rid of so many trees. So what we're going to have to do is build a huge tunnel through here. We're going to build a very, very long tunnel through this mountain range in order to preserve it. Then we'll come out on this end of the mountains, do a curve, and I've already cleared trees while setting out the blocks. I didn't want to, make a super long video of me just doing tree cutting and burning and stuff like that. That's boring to watch. So while I was setting out the magenta blocks, I was also getting rid of the trees. And then there's this river. We're going to have to build another bridge. Did the same on this side. Cleared a bunch of trees. Put out magenta blocks. And worked my way back to the road, Route A. And I even took some time to get more banners put on the sign here. So the top is no longer blank. It has the village name of Paw Print. So if you go this way on Route A, you'll go to Paw Print. If you go this way, you'll go to Vinewood. I know that I should work on getting Vinewood connected and stuff, but the terrain over there, as I've shown in other videos, it's very tricky, and I think it's going to require a very big bridge project, which I'll probably want to do a separate video on. But we can start working on this. We can do some building. We can start working on this here. Now that we have found our second village, marked a path, cleared a bunch of trees, now we know where to build. So let's get building. That looks good to me. Alrighty. So now we know where the road's gonna go. We'll stop right there for now, because we're gonna build another bridge here. But I want to get this bit of road finished here. I want to actually connect a village. Vinewood seems way too far, but Paw Print seems a little bit closer. However, we do have that tunnel that we have to build, so I guess both are equally challenging to get to. And this waterfall, I'm not sure if I want it or not. Honestly, I don't think I want it. And by doing an S-curve here, I won't have to take out the hillside very much. Or as much of the hillside. I won't have to take as much of it out. In fact, I have a better idea here. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's another little gradual S-curve there. And then there's an S-curve here. And we'll do a very tight S-curve right here. It's the only choice, to be honest. Let's see here. There we go. That's what I needed to do. Whoops. Let's see, let me go back just a little bit here. There we go. And another little S-curve there. Does that look good? I think that looks good. Makes it a little bit, kind of looks like it's snaking its way through the valley. I like the look of that. That looks good. So now comes the fun part. Filling in all of this gravel. However, I did like that waterfall, actually. But it's not too late to put it back. Here's what I can do. We can build another culvert. So let's build another culvert. That way we know how wide the road is. There we go. Might need a retaining wall because on this bit, because look how close it is to the river. All right. And then let's put in our gravel shoulder there. There we go. All right, that works. There's our embankment on that side. And there's our embankment on that side. So there we go. That's what our road, that's how wide our road is supposed to be, or is going to be. There we go. All right. Now we can focus on building the culvert. This time I'm going to do a different colored one. I'm going to do a black one right here. As we did on the last one, we start off with gravel blocks like that. There we go. And instead of just a single one, since I want to re-add the waterfall, I'm going to put in two. I think they look pretty good right there. And there we go. We have our 2 culverts ready to be buried with gravel. So let's get started on that. And there we go. The culverts are buried with gravel now. And now we're just ready to add the ends, and then we can pave on over. Alrighty, there we go. The culverts have been buried, the gravel has been added, and now we are ready to pave them over. However, when I added the white line here, which I do when I build roads, just to make sure that we know where exactly where how wide the road is and where it's gonna eventually sit. It's pretty close to the river's edge here, so I couldn't make the culverts stick out, and I wasn't able to have embankment on the sides, so we're going to have to use a retaining wall on this section right here because it's so close to the river's edge. But don't worry, it's still going to look great once it's added and we pave everything and add little details here and there. It'll look great. So let's get that started. And there we go. There's our finished culvert. I would say that looks pretty darn good. Now we can fill in the rest of the road, and then we'll eventually re-add the waterfall. But that is what the retaining wall is going to look like. I give it a rundown, looked like it's been sitting there for a long period of time kind of look, and I really do like how that looks. So now let's focus on building the rest of the retaining wall. And we'll start by adding our shoulder here. And there we go. Now you can see where the retaining wall is going to go. We put a gravel edge down, and now we just need to add the blocks that we used for the culvert here onto the edge of this right here. So we'll get that started. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. Also, I need to fill in this hole. That would probably be a good idea. Okay, I'd say we're set on that. Now we need to just get rid of the embankment here, or I should say just have it gradually go down here so that we can blend the retaining wall into the embankment here. There we go. In fact, I'll just do a little bit of terraforming here. There we go. Did a little bit of terraforming there. That way the wall kind of has a blended look to it. It looks like it blends into the embankment, the earth embankment there. So now comes the fun part. As soon as this zombie gets out of the way. Okay. Now we start adding random blocks, just here and there. And there we go. We have finished the retaining wall next to the river. And then we're going to do some more terraforming on this side here. But I would say that looks pretty darn nice. I like how I blended the embankment there into the retaining wall. Kind of looks like a little bit of a gradual slope there. And then I built a little channel here for the water to flow out of the culverts. I'm looking forward to adding that, but only when we're done finishing this bit of the road. So I'm now going to have to build the other side of the road here and then fill all this in, and that's going to be very time consuming. But don't worry, thanks to the magic of editing, you won't have to watch me do all this. Alrighty, so there we go. We have filled up the embankment and roadbed for the road, Route A, going toward the village of Paw Print. However, there are some details still needing to be completed. We have to finish a little bit more of the retaining wall. We got to pave the road. We also got to replant the trees and also finish this little section of the road here up to this river, because we're going to build another bridge, a slightly bigger one, in the next Tigercraft episode. But for now, let's get all this done here. Alrighty, that took a while, but it is finally done. This piece of road building is finally done for Route A, going toward the town, village, or city, whatever you want to call it, of Paw Print. And now we're ready to build another bridge over the river. But that'll be in the next episode of Tigercraft. But before we wrap this up, let me show you what I've built. So we have the bridge abutments all finished, complete with detail and moss overgrowing everything and vines and a couple trees replanted. The transition from asphalt to concrete, the guardrail, the embankment on this side. I even added little reflectors on the center stripe to give it a little more realistic look. And then we have our diamond warning signs. And the safety markers for the edges of the road. And I got really clever with this guardrail because in real life, sometimes they use the embankment to bury an end of a guardrail, and that's what I did here. I buried this end, and then ended it right there where the retaining wall along the river's edge begins. And as you can see, I also replanted the trees, and I re-added the waterfall, and I even added this Route A sign pointing south, and then here's the finished culvert, complete with the waterfall. Let me turn up the volume here so you can hear the water flowing. And I even added some lily pads, some moss overgrowing. And then the water just flows right through the culvert under the road and out to the other end. And then into the river, where you can see the bridge that we built for our private road. Even added more trees and details, and I really must say that that really looks nice. I love how I just blended everything together like that. The waterfall goes down into that little hole, into the culverts, and then comes out and flows right into the river. And I finished the other end of the retaining wall as well. Added some more safety markers. And I even added these yellow crash barrels because of the edge right here. The edge of the culvert. I like how this retaining wall turned out. And I even added some moss and stuff on the cliffside and replanted trees. Here's our directional sign pointing toward our 2 out of 5 villages, towns, cities, complete with directional route sign. Route A, you go south for the village of Paw Print, and you go north for the village of Vinewood. Now, I know that in previous episodes that I said I would be focused on just getting to Vinewood, but I was kind of getting bored and wanted to do some more work, and just wanted to see what was in this direction, and also I wanted to make a little more progress on that task list that we made in episode 1, which is, if we go to our little journal here, there's our tasks. Build starter base. All right, we did that. Connect 5 villages with road and transit systems. Convert villages into towns or cities. So we have found 2 out of 5 villages. So we're making progress. And to prevent myself from getting burnt out, I think that was a smart decision to work on this section instead of just continuing on to Vinewood like we've been doing in the last few episodes. It added a little bit of variety and made things a little more interesting. And now it brings me to a question. Or maybe I should ask you, the viewers, this question. Which village do you think will be connected first by Route A? Will it be Paw Print or will it be Vinewood? Leave your answer or comment in the comment section below. And I think with that, as the sun is setting, we'll wrap up this video and episode of Tigercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you wish. And I'll see you in the next one. Happy Minecrafting!